Let's start off with a couple of the big players in this space, and let's talk first about LVMH. So you can buy this one either in France, if you know where that is, and you have euros, or you can buy them on the New York Stock Exchange, where they have an ADR listing. LVMH, of course, stands for Louis Vuitton, Moet Hennessy. Those are the big four brands inside of the group. But remember, it's active in wines and spirits, so that's the Hennessy part, as well as basically owning the whole world's champagne industry.
Yeah.
All the big names in champagne, Veuve Clicquot, Moet and Chandon, all of that stuff. Fashion. So that's the Louis Vuitton handbags, as well as a whole bunch of other clothing brands. Perfumes. I'm going to have to remind myself by looking at my notes. I'm not a perfumes expert. Christian Dior. Guerlain, Acqua de Parma. That's the one my wife uses, Acqua de Parma. And then, of course, there is another division, of course, which is watches. So that's Bulgari and Tag Heuer, most especially.
Yeah.
And then they own a bunch of stores as well, particularly Le Bon Grand Marche, which is in France, and Sephora, which is where my daughter's favorite shop is. Basically, they are like sort of emporiums of makeup. The control of the group is in the hands of a Frenchman by the name of Bernard Arnault, and he owns the thing through a control structure with a privately held Christian Dior.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's perhaps less important. Market capitalization of this thing is 72.2 billion euros. So that gives you a sense of the scale, pretty substantial and hefty. Price to earnings ratio on its recent results in euros is 20.49. Dividend yield, fairly generous for a European company, 3.03.
Yeah.
We've liked this one in the past. It's pretty broadly spread. It's got tremendous, fantastic brands that have come through many years of being cautiously and carefully managed and brand built and advertising and all the rest of it. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, probably an unrivaled portfolio of luxury goods. You know, they call these brands, these houses or maisons. And yeah, I mean, there just is a lot going for it there. What I like about these companies and LVMH specifically is that they've got these very wide economic moats. So for another company to come in and try to replicate their portfolio is very, very difficult. You know, there's years and years and decades in some case of track history with these brands, and their consumers know what they want, and there's a very distinct demand for it. They're a huge company. They employ 125,000 people. That's bigger than the Anglo-American group at the moment. So you can see the size and scale of this operation.
And they're very careful about the way they manufacture all of these products in order to make sure that they're exclusive, that they come from where they say they come, they don't make mistakes. Let's have a look at the share chart, because of course that will reveal a lot. Not exactly fireworks there, sort of, you know, muddling a little bit higher. And that is in fact the French listing that we're looking at, so that's priced in euros. So it's an earnings story really. People will be looking to see whether they can manage costs carefully, whether they can grow their sales, and those spots you talked about. You know, so for example, you read stories about champagne consumption in Nigeria, which is just like through the roof.
Correct.
But then on the other hand, Tag Heuer might be battling a little bit because sales are a little bit affected by Apple Watches, smartwatches and so on. Lately, the earnings have been sort of okay-ish. The price to earnings ratio is a little above average. So, you know, no real joy and, you know, obvious indication where the next catalyst is going to come from.
Yeah.
Hot or not for you?
Look, the global slowdown has affected them. They're managing their balance sheet well. They're paying down their overall net debt. I think they're very well positioned. This is something you do want to hold for the long term. I'm happy to be hot on it.
Yeah, good. I like that conclusion. That's where I was going as well. So, right, those are two hots.